We'll ask when we start. Fuck. I almost just knocked over my whole desk, bro. I've got a bit of an echo on my end now. But anyway, we'll just do it. And then if it's shit, why is it that every time we do StreamYard, we can't get this right? This is 5 years in. Not like it's either you or me with a Wi-Fi or Dan can't get something set up. I don't get it, bloke.
Put it this way, I haven't changed any settings, so I don't know why it's changed.
Well, you're clear on my end. Am I clear on your end?
There's no echoing on your end for me. From you, sorry.
Okay.
It's just from me.
Well, if you're with us, you know what, I'll ask as the show progresses.
Lucky I have a soothing voice.
Hey?
So lucky I have a soothing voice.
When you deliberately make it a little bit deeper like you just did, yeah. Anyway, well, let's just get into it a little bit. We'll do our intros and that. We'll explain why Dan's not here, why we're not in the studio, and then when we've got a few more people in the stream, we'll ask if they can actually hear us. Or if the audio's shit. I don't know. Anyway.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It was clean. It was clinical. Like, we executed to perfection.
Now, I'd like to actually go into a few stats because, and I questioned Charlie about a month or so ago.
That is so frustrating as a fan. All you needed was an extra 2-3%.
On the podcast, you're a shit person. You're arrogant. You're obnoxious. I'm sick of it. And I reckon I've got 2 more episodes in me.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 165 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Broad Media Network and proudly powered in 2025 by Mavros Studios, even though we're not there tonight. Mavros, M-A-V-R-O-S, in Preston. If you are thinking about starting a podcast or you need something produced, hit up Mavros. Jules, I'll put you on mute for a second because they've said it's echoing in the comments, so you might have to switch to your phone, but we'll clarify in a minute. Also in 2025, proudly, and I'll bring up the banner here because we don't have the products on show tonight, unfortunately, but we are proudly sponsored and partnered with a few very, very good businesses, as you've seen all year. Vortep, head to vortep.com.au, enter Almost Blues Brothers at checkout for 10% off your Vortep gear. T-shirts, sweatshirts, tech fleece, shorts, trackies, whatever you want. Vortep.com.au, it's fantastic stuff. 3099 Jerky, you can head to 3099jerky.com, get all your beef jerky there. And St. David Dairy in Fitzroy North. I sound fine. Apparently, Jules is echoing. So, like I said, Jules, you might have to switch, but we'll see how we go. So head to St. David Dairy's cafe and concept store down in Fitzroy North. You can get milk on tap there, fresh ice cream, which we still need to go to. I say it every week. And I need to take my Mrs. Gab there as well. She's been bugging me. But some of the best ice cream that you will ever have at St. David Dairy in Fitzroy North. Jules, I'm going to get you to switch to your phone. While you do that, I'll just ramble a bit. He's getting it sorted. What happened to... So Sergio asks us, what happened to Mavros Studios tonight? So, as you can see, there's only 2 of us. And if you're listening, you'll only hear 2 of us. Dan was a late out. He's working out in Lara late tonight. He didn't finish till 8:45. So I said to Jules today, I sort of said in the chat, do we want to go to the studio or can we be asked? Because it's a Monday night, not a Sunday, and Monday's a later one for us because we do follow Terry on the Blue Broad show when we've got a Sunday game. Here we go, Jules is back on his phone. Speak now.
Can you hear me?
That's way better. And I hope there's no echo now. But we'll see as we go. You're actually a lot clearer on your phone. You're clearer than what I am. Your picture's unbelievable. I might even switch to my phone in a minute, to be honest. But anyway, we sort of said, do we want to go to the studio tonight? We're going to get home at bloody 9:45 by the time we're done. Or considering it's just the 2 of us, do you want to do StreamYard? And every time we do StreamYard, I don't know, we just can't get it right. 5 years in, Jules.
It's been a bit like that, but I'm still echoing.
Then I don't know what's going on. I can only turn my volume down so much, bloke. So... Have you got headphones? Have you got Bluetooth?
Yeah, I do. Give me a sec.
This is shocking. All right, Jules is going to go get his AirPods. Fuck, we're bad. Hey, listen, if you're tuning in for the first time, you'd think that this is probably episode 1 with how amateur this is sometimes. And I do apologise. 165 episodes in. We still can't get this shit right. But anyway, to finish off the story, Monday night, too late to get to the studio. Thought we'd give Jordan the night off as well. So we'll be back in the studio next week on Sunday, considering we've got a Saturday game. And Dan will be back next week as well because he won't be working. So it's a bit of a, it was a bit of a laid out situation tonight. Tried to work out what we were doing. Jules is here now again. Now he's got AirPods. I'm going to unmute him. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you now
It's still echoing.
How is it still echoing?
I've got no idea, mate. I'm not a technician.
Well, if you're still echoing, we can't do this show with you. I don't know what you want me to say. It's actually
Mate,
Albert reckons you're still echoing. Steven's laughing in the comments.
I am still echoing. This is a joke.
I don't understand what's going on. What browser are you using?
I'm using Safari. I've used
Echoing on the
Chrome.
phone.
I've used Edge. I'm using
You've
Safari.
actually used every browser, a phone, and a laptop, and somehow you're still echoing. I don't know what's going on. It might be my computer. Let's try this.
Oh, I'm not echoing.
Hey? Well, I'm gonna join. Anyway, you know what? This is shocking. They reckon we can. They reckon. Well, James reckons you sound like. Well, maybe I sound like I'm in the toilet, or you. One of us sounds like I'm in the toilet. D reckons maybe it's not an echo. Maybe it's Dan mimicking. It's not. He's not here.
If only.
Stephen says we'll put up with it for the night. Albert says it's still an echo. Yeah, Stephen, you're echoing, Jules. I don't know about soothing. You sound fine, Joe. Well, as long as I'm all right. That's all that really matters because we only need one to run this podcast.
I actually don't
together.
know. Ooh.
All right, hold on.
How about now? No, I'm still echoing.
This one.
The worst thing ever. What have you done, Joe?
All right. Are you echoing still?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm
you
not.
hear something? You're not. It's my laptop then. See? Worked it out.
Ah, it is Joe's fault.
It's always my fault in the end, is it not?
Of course it is,
Anyway,
mate. So what? Now, are you on your phone?
No, I've switched to my other laptop.
So if I go back onto my laptop, do you reckon it'll work?
Yeah, but you know what? You sound fine. Anyway, they're all saying we're saying it's fixed. They're saying it's fixed. We're all good. We've wasted 7.5 minutes to start the show trying to work out something that we should be able to do by now, 5 years in. Seriously.
I'll put it to you this way, Faison. The fact that it only took 7 minutes, where our football club, it's taken them, 30 years?
True.
Just in terms of comparables.
Sergio, this is as good as
comparisons.
Carlton's second halves. Drunk Hill.
Exactly right.
You just need headphones. That's all. No, we don't, because Jules got headphones, and it was my computer. It's my MacBook. This thing's for the bin. So anyway, I'm going to leave that.
Needs a service.
Hopefully this doesn't shut down the stream. It doesn't. We're good. All right. Fuck it. How was your weekend? Yeah, it didn't do much. Good. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
I've actually had a genuine mare tonight with technology. I went to, you know how you got to clean the lint out of your phone sometimes to get it to charge?
Mm.
So I've done that, and now I've chucked the charger in, and it's not charging at all. And I reckon I've damaged the charging port, and I reckon I'm up for a new phone.
I reckon that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, or maybe
It's what happens when you go too deep.
You know what? It's late. Yeah, we can run with that. it's almost after 8:30. We can run with those sort of jokes tonight. Why not? Either that or I'll get a wireless charger. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, quick one's a good one tonight, I reckon, because I don't know how much there is to really talk about from this game, Jules. And you know what? I feel like every week, I'm just going to say to the listeners right now, whether you're watching live or watching late, I'm going to say on behalf of me, Jules and Dan, and I know Jules feels the same right now. This is getting very fucking hard to do every week.
I actually don't know how we do it. I reckon I reckon Dan genuinely made an excuse to get out of tonight. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, probably. No, I mean, yeah. I'm counting down the episodes that we've got left. That's not good. That's bad. I don't want to feel this way. We shouldn't be feeling like this.
How many do we have?
Well, 45 people, which is, you know what, to the 45 how many episodes have we got left?
Yeah.
Well, first off, to the 45 people that are with us tonight, you know what, you're worse than us. Because I don't know what you want us to say at this point. But I appreciate you being here. How many episodes have we got left? We've got tonight and 3 more, so it's 4, and then we'll probably do a trade recap video because I reckon there's going to be a fair bit of movement once trade period's done. So we probably need to do a bit of a recap.
Is there going to be like a before and after, or do you reckon are we going to have a bit of a say in terms of what we think is happening and so on, or is it just going to be a reflection of it all?
No. So the last episode that we do, which is after the Essendon game, I mean, how much we're really going to review of the last game of the season, win or lose, doesn't really matter at that point. The last episode will be a bit of a longer one because we have got a bunch of trade delist or keep questions for pretty much every player that we're going to go through on the list, and coach, an assistant coach, board members. We're going to do it all. And I'm going to take a tally by the end of it. We're going to take the majority vote between the 3 of us. We're going to see how many are left by the end of it. I reckon that's going to be close to 0, to be honest. Mate. We'll recap after that, but that's in a few weeks' time. Tonight, we'll talk a little bit about this game. There is a little bit to talk about from this game. There is. You're probably not going to have us for more than 40 minutes tonight. I reckon 40, 45 minutes, because then we're going to get into all the other shit that we talk about every other week, Jules, which how many times can we talk about it? Seriously.
Yeah, I actually think there's actually other things that we can talk about, though, in regards to like JSOS and McRae's comments and that situation and so on. So
where do you want to start?
There are other things.
Do you want to start with the game, or do you want to start with the off-field news?
I think let's go to the game first, because I think there's things that we can sort of paraphrase and reuse from previous episodes, and I think we just get that off the rack first, and then we go from there.
All right, let's do it. What do you want to start with?
I think it's a story of 2 halves, no?
Very, very quick way to put it, if you want to summarize it.
Yeah.
Literally a game of 2 halves for us.
Yeah, obviously a game of 2 halves. And to be fair, going into the game, obviously not having like Charlie Chera being out, obviously Doc retiring, so 3 experienced heads, not participating in the game on the weekend or yesterday. I actually loved the way we actually went out the first half in terms of our courage, the tenacity, the effort, and you can't really fault their want to win. It's probably I don't know. I can't remember the last time where watching a game, I can honestly say that they genuinely wanted to win a game of football. Yep. Especially in the first half. I think I haven't seen that for a very long time.
Agreed.
I to the point where I actually don't know if I've seen it this year. And that's going back.
I reckon
going back a fair way.
Maybe the Geelong game.
Oh yeah, the Geelong game is probably the only one. Other than that, I couldn't really tell you. I think the first half was just the lack of polish for me, in terms of trying to put on a scoreboard.
Have you got some stats?
To be honest with you, I have not consumed anything. I haven't looked at any stats. I haven't listened to anything in the media.
I've got a few that I remember off the top of my head that I'll go through in a minute.
I know we had like 10 plus inside 50s to their 0. Yeah, and we're only like a goal or 2 up or something.
Match report, Freo 15-4-94 final scores. Carlton 10-7-67. Which we'll go into in a minute. Goals for Carlton. Akers, Durden, Fogarty, Mackay, Moyer, Motlop, O'Farrell, Williams, 1 each. Evans with 2. Good spread of goal kickers, I'll say off the top. Always good to see. And then obviously injuries, which we'll get into as well. which I just could not believe when I saw it. Harry O'Farrell with the ACL. Like, anyway, we'll come back to that. Stats off the top of my head from what I was watching and from what I remember. In the first half, our pressure rating was above 220, which is the most that we've had all year across a half of footy. So the tenacity was there. We had 13-1 clearances at one point. I think it may have actually been, I think it was 9-1 centre clearances, maybe, or 7-1 centre clearances. So clearance dominance was just on show, and that's our profile. We've spoken about it so often, but we ended up finishing the game 43-50 in clearances. They beat us. Like, they turned it around that significantly out of the middle, right? Contested possession, we ended up losing. We won the uncontested possession, which was good to see for once. But contested possession, we end up losing. Clearance, we end up losing. Our tackling dropped off a cliff versus where we started. We laid 88 for the game, but they laid 87, and we were well ahead of their tackle count at one point. Tackles inside forward 50-11 for the game, which is good. So the pressure profile was there. The problem was a lot of this profile was built literally in 2.5 quarters of footy or 2 quarters of footy. We dropped off a cliff, and then after that, it's like we forgot how to play footy again after halftime. I don't know. I don't know what it is with the psyche of this team or what happens at halftime in those rooms, but they are a completely different unit. It's been the case literally since round one for the majority of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Paysan, I reckon I can go back, quite a few years where games would roll like this. You go back to 2023 and we would hold on to them, whether it be because of, game management or maybe a little bit of luck, probably a little bit of both. Arguably, and I'm pretty sure I've stated it numerous times where it was probably been more luck rather than actually game management. So I think there is a lack of, I'm not going to say preparedness for these occasions. I'm not going to say preparedness because I actually don't think it's that. I just think it's a lack of understanding what to do in key moments. Not because they're not prepared for it, but because they potentially lack the ability between the ears or lack the psychology between the ears in terms of what to do in certain moments or not knowing what to do, but wanting to do it or thinking that and believing that they're able to do it. I think that's the psyche that we have at the moment. And again, it's become habit. Okay. And these are just bad habits that have crept in and, it's been a while. And it's going to take a long time to be able to get out of it too.
Agree. And I'll just preface this as well, right? Here's the injury list at the moment, which is, I just can't believe we're talking about injuries again for like a 4th consecutive season, right?
Yeah, but I feel like as if with injuries at the moment, there probably is a lot of players just going on ice, no?
Yeah, of course. No, I get that. But it's still consuming as part of this game, right? In isolation, right? So whether or not we've just put them on ice and season done for like a Charlie and a Sauce and whatever, you're still going to look at the names that are out, right? Sam Walsh, Jagga Smith, Jack Silvani, Nick Newman, Mitch McGovern, Brody Kemp, Razio Fantasia, Matt Cottrell, and they add Harry O'Farrell to the list as well. Like, and then on the flip side, you go through the lineup. You got names like Will White, and this is no knock on any of these players. I'm just highlighting this because of the amount of inexperience that is out there and how unbalanced we are at the moment from that perspective. Will White, Cooper Lord, Harry O'Farrell, who's now no longer even available, Lockie Cowan, Ashton Moyer, Ollie Hollins, Matt Carroll, Frankie Evans, Flynn Young, Jackson Binns there as an emergency, or Dirge was there as a sub, sorry. Jackson Binns, even the emergency. Like Hudson O'Keefe's on the emergency list. You've even got the likes of Lewis Young having to step up, who I thought actually had a pretty good game. And Pitto's named at full forward to start the game, literally on the team sheet. So this is where, it's just where we're at from this point of the season, 4 games to go, out of contention. Yes, players are on ice. But a lot of those names that I mentioned, they haven't been available for a large majority of this season. And it's not an excuse because I don't think if you even bring in a Newman or a Smith, that it's going to, or Walsh, if Walsh plays, the majority of the year, that it wouldn't have changed much at all. But fuck, man, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And again, this is a different this is a different conditioning program, different head of fitness. And I know he needs time, and it's going to take a year to set in. But he's got a lot on his plate in this off season already in terms of players that are going to have to work their way back from pretty significant time off.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And yeah, obviously that it's gonna take a little bit of time in terms of getting the continuity in terms of the habits and so on. But we need to be patient, but we need to be impatiently patient. You know what I mean? Because you still need to see some glimmer and promise in terms of being healthy, so then you can get some continuity on field. I can't remember the last time we've actually had, 0 changes in one consecutive game, let alone 2, or more. So obviously, and the thing is, you go across the ground, in our back 6 or 7, our midfield group, even the wingers, you go in terms of, forward line as well. It's not just happening in one area or 2/3 of the field, or it's happening in all areas. You have to look at the wingers. We've had how many wingers play? We've had Campo, we've had Akers, we've had Doherty, you've got Cottrell, you've had probably Hollands run through their patches.
Walsh would have been, I think Chera was named on Chera was named on one week.
You got White that plays there sometimes. Binns has played there. I've just named 9 players, and I reckon there's a few. And Orazio plays there sometimes, obviously pinch hitting there from a half forward. That's 10, So, and I'm not saying that you don't want versatility, but the continuity helps, and it's massive because you're able to get habits and understanding between your playing group. And for, I would say, the last however many years, we haven't been able to achieve that. So they need to definitely go to work on that. No doubt they will. But in saying that, I don't think it is just the health. I feel like as if it's got to do more with how people conduct themselves and want to conduct themselves to reach a certain level, to be able to, to get to the promised land. And I don't think some of our players or enough of our players want to be able to achieve that, because you need everyone. You need an army of people, and at the moment, we definitely don't have that.
Well, we've spoken about that most weeks on this podcast. Like, I think for a long time, I don't think our club has understood what. And when I say club, I mean every facet: board, coaches, players, fans. All 4 facets that make up the football club. I don't think any of us have ever really understood collectively at any point. Like we definitely haven't. I think on this podcast we've tried to set standards for what high performance looks like and what it takes to succeed, right? And what we want to hold them to account to. We did an episode after the Melbourne win, and we got hammered for being too negative. But unfortunately, how good do you want to be? Because one win, which was the 7th win of the season at that point, 20 rounds in or 18 rounds in, whatever it was, it's not good enough. I don't care if we win the next 3. You're not going to see positivity out of us at this point. And I don't think collectively those 4 facets of the club have ever understood at the same time and really held the I want to say I still want to say the players to account for what high performance looks like, what true high performance looks like, which leads to that sustained success that we want to see, which leads to top 4 finishes, which leads to consecutive finals year after year after year after year, like a Sydney or a Geelong or whoever it may be, which then leads to contending for flags. It doesn't just happen because you've got a good list. It doesn't just happen because you've got continuity, like even you're talking about. I think even with continuity at this point, this club doesn't know what it takes. I don't know if you disagree with that, but I think if we had a fully fit list with the amount of effort, collective effort that we've seen week in, week out on game day this year, I don't think it makes a difference at this point. There's something inherently not clicking when it comes to that side of it, and they're not up for it at this point in time. I don't know if they're ever going to be up for it at this point. I don't, because when there's been, and this game as well, we'll keep reviewing this game because this is what we're here for. You look at this game along with so many others across this season where we've put ourselves in a winning position. They don't know how to follow on from it. They just don't know how to go on with it, sustain it, change the tempo, get the game back on their terms. I don't know. There's whether that's coaching, players, a mix of both. I don't know at this point, but it's just not there at any level whatsoever.
Yeah, look, Faizan, it definitely is multifaceted. There's many areas of the game in which we really do need to improve in. I mean, in the media, within the four walls of the football club, obviously it's, built on, they say it all the time, built on contest, built on pressure. Probably haven't been as consistent in those areas as we would have liked. But in saying that, we need to add a few layers to our game, because once other teams start getting on top in those two areas, we find it very difficult to try and manage our way out of it. We'll try get control of the game again. So there's many things that we can do. Assistant coaches would be one. Obviously, players ins and outs is another. And I reckon there's going to be quite a few changes. When I say quite a few changes, I reckon there's going to be a lot of movement. I would not be surprised. Some players we are going to be quite surprised about. Others probably not as well. But I just feel I feel like as if there's something happening inside of the four walls at the moment. Nothing has really been leaked out, to be fair and to be honest. But when players have been asked about movement and so on, in terms of trades, I don't know if players, coaches, staff, and club members, like people at the club, I don't know if they're speaking with enough conviction to state otherwise than potentially they might go.
No,
at the moment.
It's clear. I've said this every other week for the last couple of weeks too. I think we've all got to come to terms with the fact there's going to be a lot of change, and there are going to be appointments and movements and trades that many people aren't going to see coming, and many people aren't going to be happy with. But you know what? I don't care at this point. I don't know. I'm going to ask you this question: Are you even frustrated with losses at this point? Like, honestly. Like, when we used to do this, right? So we used to do this 5 years ago, and the club was at a certain point of its evolution, right? And we'd get frustrated when we weren't winning because it's like, fuck, when's that next step going to come, right? I'm at a point now in this season where I haven't cared for the last 2 or 3 weeks what the results have looked like. I haven't even, to be honest, known when we're even going to play some weeks. I don't know what day we're playing, what time we're playing. Like, are you at a point of frustration still? Are you upset with what you're seeing? Or are you just resigned to the fact that it's like, whatever happens from here happens? That's it.
I'll put it to you this way. I am more frustrated now. But in saying that, I'm at the point where I'm so frustrated to the point that I don't care.
Yeah, that's exactly
almost.
what
That's what I'm trying to say. But I'll put it this way: this is the worst season we've ever had.
Ever, I agree.
When I say we've ever had, like since my understanding of like what football is or was.
Yeah, I agree.
So
it's because of the expectation that this group had on them.
Correct.
Going into last year, how they finished, coming into this year, you're going to bounce back. And not only didn't they bounce back, they got so much worse. Much worse. We did a preseason. I don't know if you remember this. We did a preseason show. Both of us, I'm fairly sure, and people can go back and I don't listen to an episode. So if I get this wrong, get this wrong. But I'm sure at least one of us, if not both of us, when we did this, and we did our preseason predictions, both agreed that we're either going to be really good or we're going to be really bad. There's no in between. And we're really bad.
No. We definitely did say that.
I think we both said we were both optimistic on where we would finish. We're not going to start a preseason predictions episode by saying we're going to finish 12th or have 7 wins for the year. But I do specifically remember that, and it wasn't just our sentiment; it was the sentiment from a lot of Carlton supporters at that point in pre-season, because there was just this unknown on how we finished last year and whether or not they'd be able to bounce back. They haven't. They just haven't.
Yeah, I mean, like, was it difficult to see that this would eventually happen, one way or another, whether we're going to, stick the course and do well, or, fall to pieces? Obviously we've done the latter, but
well, I'll tell you what, can I tell you why? Can I tell you a big factor that not enough people are talking about and really calling out? If you're a team like we were last year, who just scraped into finals, and you're in that 6th to 8th or 6th to 12th sort of bracket, right? If you're not bettering your list every year from that point, you're going to get overtaken very quickly. Did we better our list last year? I'm going to say no.
I would say potentially for the future we have. When I say future, maybe 4-5 years down the track.
Down the track. I'm talking about,
not in the short term.
To continue to contend,
not in the
I don't
short
believe
term.
we didn't. You listen to someone like Craig McRae, he's very open, and they're in their window, right? He's been very open, and we can talk about Jack Silvani. We can talk about all of this now if you want to go into it. I think our review of the game's done. There's not too much to really say, right? But if you want to talk about the standards of a football club, look at Craig McRae, right? And a lot of people haven't liked what they've done with Silvani. I'm going to give you a separate take. There was one thing he said, and it was, we are always looking to make sure that we're bettering our list. This is coming from a club that was premiership favourites 2 weeks ago. They're probably still going to win the flag. They did this in 2023. They dropped off. They came back. They peaked at the right time. I've got no doubt they'll be there at the end still. But this is a football club, and this is a head coach of a football club that is telling everyone openly, we're not going to rest on our laurels. We will continue to better our playing list. And they do it year in and year out. They bring in really, really good players, quality players. Doesn't matter what position. If someone's available, they'll take them. Sydney do it. Geelong do it. Collingwood do it. Even Hawthorn to an extent do it. They went out and got Josh Battle and Tom Barrass. They're probably not the team that everyone thought they'd be this year, but they're still there or thereabouts. They're still in the hunt. They were around where we were last year. We've dropped off a cliff. They're still there or thereabouts.
Yeah, but it's a different mentality, different culture, different mindset, the way in which those clubs, continue to build themselves on. We haven't had that to a certain extent. The last couple of years, maybe definitely to a less extent. This year, we've sort of fallen off, but those clubs have sort of fallen off as well in patches too. Like Hawthorn, not too long ago, had fallen off. You have a look at Collingwood, the year prior to them making the granny. I'm pretty sure they finished last or second last, something like that. I'm pretty sure from memory.
2 years prior, they were bottom four.
Yeah, they were bottom four at least. So like when I say it turns relatively quickly. But you've got to get the momentum, and then once you get the momentum, you got to work hard to keep it.
That's right, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, and we this year, we didn't do that towards the back end of last year. I think towards the end of the back end of last year, for whatever it was, I actually think it was more injuries. This year's probably, a lot of things adding to the issue. I feel, and we've got a lot of work to do. Let's just put it that way.
All right, let's talk sauce.
Do you want to talk Hoff first?
Oh yeah, sorry, Harry.
To the game?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just far out, man. As soon as he did it, I initially thought it was the one that he initially landed on, but then obviously watching it back, it was actually the second time he planted his other foot. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Tracy gave him a bit of a nudge before going to the marking contest.
I think
as well, from memory.
Yeah, he did get nudged under it a little bit. I mean, Josh Tracy's a bit of a prick of a player, but I don't know if you can really blame it on him. But it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't know. The kid kicks his first goal in boyhood colours, and then 10 minutes later, that's it. He's probably done till 2027. Really,
Yeah, far out. Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
when you look at it that way, that's fucked. It's just fucked. So you just feel for him, like
Yeah.
I don't
He's
know.
looking very good too.
I'll tell you something. His development, has probably been the best development I've seen out of a kid from us for a long time,
Especially for a tall.
especially for a tall. And he had Wiedering next
And
to him.
and the you know what? As well as the pick he is, or he was.
Yeah. Oh, hey, someone mentioned on Instagram that I saw both our first and second round picks from 2024 have both done an ACL at the start, at the end of 2025.
Yeah.
Both our first and second round picks.
Yeah. I was actually looking today. I was trying to like find some information in and around ACLs like per club, and like going to like until 2015. So looking at the last 10 years, I couldn't really find anything. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just go to ChatGPT. So I tried. I couldn't find anything, because I'm like, you know what, man? I feel like as if we get a lot of ACLs compared to other clubs. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
think, though, there's a lot more ACLs now than I've ever seen over the past 3-4
Yeah,
years.
potentially. Yeah,
Just in
potentially.
general in footy. I don't know what the trend is. I don't know why it's happening, but I've seen more ACLs in the last 4 or 5 years than what I'd seen prior.
Potentially. And look, I've got no idea in terms of the answers, but I was just looking at it, and apparently each club in the last 10 years have had anywhere on average between 7 and 8 ACLs.
Over that 10-year, not per year, over that 10-year period.
Correct. Yeah, on average. I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm just saying, but it sounds probably about right.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like that sounds about right to me. It really does.
Yeah,
it does.
And you go back to us. You've got Jagga, you've got Harry O'Farrell, you've got Doherty times 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 5. You got Cunningham. You got J Sauce.
Cutters, Sauce. Yeah.
Who else? Any others? Williams.
Williams did his ACL at one point.
So that's 8.
And then, I mean, I think they might be all the ACLs that I can remember.
Yeah. So,
but then
that's
on
average.
top of that,
That's the average.
I mean, how many other knees? Oh, Kemp had an ACL.
Oh, Kemp ACL.
Yeah, he did. He did in his first year.
Yeah, Kemp ACL. So that's 9. There might be 1 or 2 other ones, unless anyone else has.
But if it's not, then
into the table.
If it's not, then it's Achilles. So Williams, Kemp, and if it's not Achilles, it's other knee injuries. Newman with his patella, fucking Charlie twice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's just luck. I don't know if it has something to do with our program, how they're conditioned. I don't know. But all I know is with ACLs, usually they are freak incidents. And you look at Harry O'Farrell, and that is a freak incident. That it was innocuous.
Yeah. Very innocuous.
The way he landed, and as soon as I saw how innocuous it was, I just put my hands on my head and I just thought, fuck me. Can we just end this season already? I feel like we should just field unknowns for the next 3 games. Just put everyone on ice completely. Play the VFL players. Well, I don't know. I just feel for the kid. I really do. We're probably not going to see him until 2027. And when you think about that, that is scary in terms of, that's like a year and a half basically that we may not see him at this level. But the silver lining is with ACLs, and it's been spoken about even with Jagga to this point, especially with young kids, they're quite resilient in terms of what their body can do from a recovery process. But also, these kids are quite wiry types, lanky. This is their opportunity, and it's Harry's opportunity just as much as it was Jagga's, to put some size on. Like go get in the gym. You've got an upper body you can work on. Go put some size on. So when you're back and you're ready to go, and your knees ready to go, you can hold yourself in a contest, and you've got that strength base that Harry O'Farrell probably doesn't have at the moment against some of the bigger types in the AFL. So there's always a silver lining. Doc's spoken about it plenty of times with his ACL recoveries. I just wish the best for him, and I don't know. What do you say? Now, this will lead into my next. This actually leads into the Sauce discussion because I was feeling. I'll get your thoughts on Sauce. This is a two-parter, right? So, the first question is, how attached to Sauce are you? Okay. Take that question however you want it. And then secondly, how attached are you now with Harry O'Farrell sideline next year? If you understand where I'm coming from.
Look, obviously I'm attached to Sauce in terms of like the Savani name. Okay. But yeah, I feel like as if maybe the club has managed it not appropriately or inappropriately. I reckon they could have managed things a lot better. And there's obviously been some dealings there. Even go back to like Stephen Savani too, in terms of what's happened there. Now, obviously taking Harry O'Farrell's injury into consideration, I still feel like as if we should be able to cover anyway. Considering you got Dean coming in as well, he's going to be a high draft pick, and looking at it, they're probably very similar players. Like with the Harry O'Farrell too, still obviously very wiry, but like if you're going to play Harry O'Farrell, you should be able to play Dean. I just think like they're very similar types. I was actually thinking potentially that there might have been other players in defence, tools that could have made way at the end of the year.
Like?
Well, McGovern could have been one.
So, okay, so then how are you looking at McGovern now?
How am I looking at McGovern?
With the O'Farrell injury and with Sauce looking like he's 100% gone at this point, so how are you looking at McGovern?
I think you probably keep him now, but look, if the club is putting a contract in front of J Sauce and say it's 650, 700, whatever it may be, they're the rumours, or at least the reports, and the club's obviously doing that and then Collingwood are doing that as well. Look, I wouldn't be surprised, but like if that was happening in mine, so for example, if I had control of the Carlton Football Club and I've got J Sauce here, 650, 700, I'm offering exactly the same amount. One thing, I'm questioning, what do we stand for as a football club, like allowing this to happen? That's number one. Okay. Because it shouldn't get to that, because he is a football player that you want in your side. And that's why Collingwood are going after him. They just won the premiership a couple of years ago, and that's why that's what they're doing. They're continuing, in terms of trying to get better, year after year. That's J Sauce is exactly the type of person that you want. Like he's probably, for me, I would arguably say he's one of the first players on my team sheet
that you're picking.
Purely because you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. You know he's going to be consistent, especially now that he's gone in defence and done what he's done. I know there's been a few injuries, obviously, but in terms of what he's done, this year, even before he done his ACL, like he was hitting some straps coming as a third tall second ruck.
He had that 4-goal game against Port, and then he does his
and then just his versatility too. Those types of players just don't, you can literally play him anywhere. You can play him in the forward line, you can play him in defence, you can play him as a second ruck, you can almost play him as an on-baller. In fact, I think we did from memory. He was tagging at one stage. He was playing a bit of a run with role. So
do you blame him? Do you blame him?
Oh, I'm not going to be frustrated at him if he leaves.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I'm not going to be frustrated if he leaves, but I'll be frustrated because that's a player that you don't want to lose. I'll put it this way: there's in terms of tools, it'd be Weeders, J Sauce, like in terms of order that I wouldn't want to lose. Yes, obviously Weeders being the top. Weeders, J Sauce, O'Farrell. Probably go if obviously once Dean comes onto the list, it'd be Dean. It'd be those four. Okay, because I'm just looking at the now and the future then it'd probably be Haynes and then McGovern.
Well, I agree. Well,
Be in that
I mean,
order.
you could put Newman in there if you consider him at all, but I don't consider him at all.
Nah, he's
But-
more of a hybrid. But yeah.
I don't blame Sauce for the position he has been put in. I blame the club for not having him locked down into a role for the last 6 years and just using him as a Mr. Fix-It. Because as a footballer, it's frustrating, man. Like, you don't know where you're going to play every other week, really. Like, imagine going week to week.
I don't. Do you reckon it's more so he felt like as if he wasn't valued?
I think that
I feel like as if that's what it is.
I think this plays into it, right? Like, if you don't have a lockdown position, you're being asked to play a different role every other week. He's been dropped to the VFL so many times because we don't have a position for him. Then we've got a position for him, and it's a different position than what he played 2 or 3 months ago. All of that plays a part over the last 5 years or so, right? So there's that. I don't know what the contract discussions looked like behind closed doors earlier in the year, but maybe we tried to lowball him thinking he'd just stay because of the name. I don't know. I don't know. I don't blame him at the end of the day for what he is exploring. I have resigned to the fact that he's leaving. And if you take the name out of it, it's just a disappointing loss because of how solid of a player he is, just from an effort and standards perspective, week in, week out. We spoke about standards at the start of this. We speak about standards every other week on this podcast. There's probably a handful of players that I look at on our list where I know what I'm going to get from him each week. He's one of them, and always has been. Effort, no doubt in my mind. So it's going to hurt to lose him. Taking the name out of it completely, I don't think I'm attached to the name, to be honest. I know a few people are thinking, how could a Silvani play for Collingwood and this and that? I'm over that, to be honest. I was probably a little bit like that at the start.
Well, I still can't believe if it happens. I still can't believe it.
It'll look, when we play them.
Not to Collingwood.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, not to Collingwood.
The first time he lines up against us, if it's in that jumper, it's going to be fucking weird. It's going to be weird, right? I think we can all say that. But I don't care at the same time.
Can I ask you a question? Has there ever been have we ever seen a father-son for any club go from Carlton to Collingwood, or go from Essendon to Collingwood, or go from Adelaide to Port Adelaide?
Father-son.
West Coast to Freo. Father-son.
Sons.
Can anyone in the chat find someone? Because I can almost, not guarantee, but I would arguably say it's never happened.
Yeah, off the top of my head, no. Not rival to rival. Yeah, Gary Ablett's the one that comes to mind, but he didn't go to like Hawthorn. He went to the Suns.
Exactly.
Yeah. Father-sons have been traded. We're not saying they haven't been, but it's like...
Yeah, I'm talking about name. Yeah, like to a rival club.
Rival club,
I can't think of one.
No.
I can't think of any.
Hey, yes, and I'm not saying that if you look at it that way, you're wrong. I think everyone's got their right to be as emotional as they want about this one. But I'm just trying to... I don't know. I'm trying to distance myself from any emotion with this club now. Like, said at the start of the year, I don't think we've been too emotional, to be honest, this year on this podcast like we have been in the past. Like, there's been years where it's an emotional roller coaster every week. I think we've actually been pretty measured. And I think the three of us have tried to take that approach for the majority of the year. Not too high, not too low, tried to be a bit measured. And even now, as low as we are, like, we're not ranting and raving, asking for the board to be sacked and asking for this coach to be sacked or that coach. Like, it's just, we know that there needs to be change. And if there needs to be change, I am not attaching myself to any player, coach, board member, head of football, whatever it may be at this point. Like, if it's Charlie and he wants to go, see you later. If it's the only one that would really kill me is Cripper, if he does decide. That's probably the only one.
Apparently today, I don't know. I just heard that maybe within the last hour or so that apparently there's reports that potentially he may go as well now.
Where'd you hear this?
I heard it from somewhere.
Yeah, well.
And I'm just thinking...
to be honest, him and Weeders would be the only two where I'd go, oh, fuck. All right, that one hurts. The rest of them, Sauce included, I really don't care for.
Yeah, but my thinking is, how many do you move on? Well, when I say how many, I'm not going to go into detail, but like how many? Actually, how many of the big 5 or 6 do you move on?
Can I do a little exercise here? Because I was thinking about this during the week in terms of how quickly can we turn it around. Do we want to do this now? Should we wait? We'll leave it. We'll leave it for the last episode that we do this year.
Park it.
Yeah, we'll park it. I've got some ideas already. And if Tom,
thing is,
I'll say something. If Tom and Sauce leave, we're in a very good position currency-wise, just on that alone.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got certain players. It's not about who leaves. It's about who you can get in.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I think we've got the currency.
So
I think we've got the currency then to turn the list around pretty quickly with not just youngsters, with some experience. That's what I'm looking for now. Are there established types?
Did you see him on the weekend?
He's fucked.
Did you see that one play on the weekend?
I watched St Kilda games now just to watch him.
He is a joke.
He's insane. He's actually insane.
He's making like a lab or something.
He is making the game look so fucking easy at the moment. It's not.
He plays Oz kick every week.
Yeah, he brings his own footy. He put the Jets on twice in that game against North, and I was just watching him going, "You're fucked."
Honestly, if we just had one of him, imagine him kicking it to like Charlie and Harry.
Yeah, well. Actually, speaking about hitting up forward targets inside 50, you see Big Pitt hit up Zach Williams on a lead. How good was that in the first half?
Fine, man. If your ruckman can do it, surely you can.
Mate, did you see how they got around him too? George Hewitt, there's footage of George Hewitt after he's hit up Williams on the chest, and George just got his head on his hands going, what the fuck just happened? I love it. I think we're in good hands with Big Pitt. I'm not concerned. I think if Tom leaves, as long as Pitto can get some fitness under his belt, get some continuity, get in a ruckman like Ned Reeves as a backup for when Pitto's done, I think we're actually in decent shape there. But I don't know, the sauce one with Harry O'Farrell going down now, we are looking thin down back. We're just looking real thin next year. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that down the track. There was one other question I wanted to ask you about. Off-field. Oh, all right. This is actually one I do want to ask. I don't think I've really asked it to this point over the last few weeks anyway. So put your personal feelings aside for him, okay? Do you think Michael Voss will be coaching round 1, 2026?
No.
Okay.
If
it's okay, second part. If it's not Voss, who do you want? Or who do you think it could be?
I don't want to go down an experienced coach route.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like experienced coach in terms of, I don't want to go down a Longmire. I don't want to go down an Adam Simpson. I think one of those coaches I think one of those coaches can potentially be like within your coaching ranks, like an senior assistant coach or overlooking and so on. But yeah, I mean, I'd have to go and do a bit of research on that. It's a bit difficult to say. I actually don't know what's out there.
Last part of the question then is, are you going to trust in the process of whatever Graham Wright puts in, regardless of if it's Voss, regardless of if it's Longmire, regardless of if it's a Hayden Skipworth or someone else who's a young coach up and coming, regardless of who's in the seat, will you back that decision in with Graham Wright in the CEO's chair right now?
Define trust.
Do you trust his decision making in his ability? Because really, it comes down to him at this point, right? Like he's the one that's going to have to make the call.
Well, I hope so.
Well, you would think so, right? You're not bringing in someone like Graham Wright. Hey, I'll tell you now, Jules. I'll tell you something. If we bring in Graham Wright and we're not giving him the reins to just go do what you need to do, if he is then clamped down like a Brian Cook was clamped down by coteries and by the board and whoever, if the same thing happens to Graham Wright, I'm telling you now, I'm giving up on this football club completely. Graham Wright's not the Messiah. I'm not saying he's the Messiah, but if another person walks through those fucking doors at Icon Park and they come out a completely different character to the person that they were that walked in there, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. The culture's fucked if that's the case, because you can't bring in someone like Graham Wright right? Who has been so ruthless at every single football club he's gone to, and not expect the same change here. Because if it doesn't happen and we stagnate again or go backwards, I'm fucking over it. I'm done. I don't think any of us can sit here and not be done with it at that point. How could you?
Yeah. So, but anyway, going back to your question, I don't know about trust because trust is built. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't just give away trust.
No, but trust based on his administrative capabilities that he's shown in the past.
Yeah, but I'm not just putting my full trust within him. I'm putting my full trust inside the four walls of the football club. That's everyone,
Yeah.
and there'll be 100 people that will have influence on that. So how? It's impossible.
I just hope.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, I just hope he's given the reins, because if he is, I will trust whatever appointment that he's in that seat.
So as soon as the decisions start to be made in terms of, obviously, the first one will be the coach. I'm telling you right now, round 23 or 24, whatever it is.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
The first thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do they do there? And then are they going to go through a process? What does the process look like? Because if they're not going to go through any form of process, and then they're just going to hire someone, I don't think that's the right way to go either. Once they hire the coach, then how they go about in terms of hiring assistant coaches. Okay, what are they aiming for? Because they got to aim for what the coach wants to play like, as well as the players that he has at his disposal, and then work from there. So all I'm saying is all these decisions need to be made as best as possible in order to see what we want to see out on game day and for a whole season.
I agree.
Can it happen over one off season? Absolutely it can. But a lot of decisions need to be made and made correctly. That's for sure. And it can be done. Trust me, it can be done. But it's just to be able to trust and back them in. I find it very, very hard to do. That's for sure.
Well, time will tell with that. We're not going to preview. I don't even know who we're playing next week. We playing
Gold Coast Saturday night, 7:35 at Marvel Stadium.
Oh, you going?
Something like that. I've got nothing else to do.
Fuck that. I'm not. No, I'm not doing it this. I'm not doing it to myself this week. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to promise myself I'm not going. I can't do it against the Suns.
Why?
We're gonna get fucking slapped, man. They are in sixth gear at the moment, like fucking roaring, ready for finals. We're gonna get smacked.
I reckon, in all honesty, I reckon. I know it's a bit early, but Carlton's not there. We might as well talk about other clubs. Do you? I think Brisbane are primed.
They're hitting their straps at the right time. I still think it's Adelaide at the moment. I think they look fucked.
I think with Adelaide though, I think they will. I reckon they'll according to their run, they'll finish one or two. So obviously they'll win the first, they'll win the prelim. I just don't know if they can do it at the MCG. That's the thing for me.
Well, they put on a score against the Dons. They put on like 166 points at the G earlier this year, so they can score there, and that's their fault. Like that's their one. Their one is being able to score.
Yeah, but can they do it against Collingwood at the G or Brisbane at the G? I don't know.
I think any of these interstate clubs, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Adelaide, in particular, those three in particular, their downfall is if they run into Collingwood on the last day, purely because of the home ground factor. That's it.
I still think Brisbane can beat Collingwood, no problem. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think Brisbane's got the best profile in the AFL at the moment if they're firing. I don't think anyone can beat Brisbane if they're firing, but they've just been a little bit. There's been times I've looked at them this year and gone, you look a little bit vulnerable. The one that's confusing me at the moment is the Bulldogs. I don't understand the Dogs. I can't get it.
They're up and down like a yo-yo.
But not just up and like one extreme to the next. Like they slapped the Giants and they lose. Who'd they lose to last week? They had a shit loss the week before against it was Brisbane. But it was a game that they should have won. I don't know. I can't get a read on them, to be honest. But it's going to be interesting. I actually think it's going to be quite an interesting final series, regardless of whether or not we're there, to be honest, this year. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing like the Suns see how they go in their first finals berth. See Adelaide, see if they can get it done. Adelaide's the one that I look at and go, that should have been our trajectory. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That should be us right now.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
So I want them to prove me right and go win the flag so I can go, yeah, that should have been us. So we fucked something up along the way. I don't know what happened that after quarter time of the Giants game last year, but that should have been us this year. 100%. Anyway, if you're going to the game, good luck. For anyone else who's going to the game, good luck. I'm not here to tell people what they should or shouldn't do anymore about whether or not you want to go and cheer or, you should be. How can you not support? I still support my club and do this every week, right? I still show up and do this for an hour every week. I'm just not going to games at this point. Fuck it. I've done that. Me, you, and Dan for 6 years. After we finished uni, we didn't miss a game, man. Fremantle. Remember the Fremantle game in like 2018? We didn't score to halftime, not a goal. We booed our own team off at halftime. That's how bad it was. Fuck me,
I
man.
don't want to talk about those days.
I'm not doing that anymore. So if you want to go watch the Suns slap us on Saturday, be my guest. Half your luck. If not, I'll see you next week.